I now want to do an overview of something called unit analysis, which also can be called dimensional analysis. But whatever name you want to use for it, all it is simply a method for changing one unit of measurement to another. It is used a lot in biology, in chemistry, in mathematics, and it's also used in the math that nurses use a lot when they're converting or doing their measurements for their drug conversions. Now, with unit analysis or for dimensional analysis, there's a couple basic mathematical principles that are in use. First of all, the principle of cross-cancellation during a multiplication problem involving fractions. If I have, say, 3/5 being multiplied by 2/3, in a multiplication problem of this type, we can cross-cancel. In this case, the 3's will cancel out because cross-cancellation can occur from a numerator to any denominator within the multiplication problem, and all that's going to be left is the 2/5. So basically what we've done is cross-cancel for the purpose of simplification. But a unit analysis says that this cross-cancellation can occur with units the same way it does constants. For example, if I had feet on top of a fraction being multiplied by, say, pounds over feet, and feet this time is in the denominator of the second fraction, then the feet can cancel just like the 3's did, and I would be left with, in this case, pounds. And the cancellation can occur through units, whether they are plural or singular. All right. In other words, a pound, as in 1 pound, in the numerator of one fraction, can cancel pounds, say yards per pound or yards per pounds, in the second fraction, and they will still cancel even though one's singular and one's plural. And we're going to make use of this ability to cancel for our conversions. And we also make use of certain equivalencies that we are familiar with. For example, we're going to make use of equivalencies like, let me get this cleared off, equivalencies like 12 inches equals 1 foot. We'll make use of equivalencies like 60 seconds equals 1 minute. And of course there are almost too many to list here, but there are a lot of equivalencies available to us, ones that we have memorized and ones that we can look up. But what we can do is we can take any one of these equivalencies and write it as two different fractions. For example, this first equivalency could be written as 12 inches over 1 foot, or you could choose to write it as 1 foot over 12 inches. We can use whichever one of these is the most convenient. And it's just going to be a matter of deciding which one to use. So let's do a conversion. Let's take 3.5 feet and try and convert that into inches. Now here's how we're going to make the decision as to which fraction to use. You want to take the unit that you're starting with and make it look like a fraction. The easiest way to do this is to just put a 1 underneath it. This, of course, is going to be a multiplication setup because it's with multiplication that these things cancel. And you're going to want to pay attention first to the units and to the numbers afterwards. You notice that we have feet on top here in this original value. For feet to cancel, since it's in the numerator in the first fraction, that means it has to show up in the denominator of the second fraction. And here is the fraction that has feet in the denominator where it needs to be to make the cancellation occur. So that means it's 12 inches over 1 foot, and that's the way we would write our answer. Now we can go to the calculator. Any number that is in the numerator will get multiplied. Numbers in the denominator get divided. Of course, ones don't have any effect, whether they're being multiplied or divided. So on the calculator, we'll simply take 3.5 times 12, and our result is going to be a 42 inches. So that is basically how the unit analysis works. Any unit that needs to be canceled out is in the numerator and is canceled by the similar unit in the denominator. Let's look at another example of that. Let's go with time units this time around. Let's take 3 days and convert that into seconds. And let's think about what equivalencies that we know that can be used here. First of all, we know that 1 day equals 24 hours. We know that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. And we know that 1 minute equals 60 seconds. So these will all be involved in this conversion. Again, I put the original unit over a 1, so it looks like a fraction. We set up to multiply. Since days is in the numerator here, to be able to cancel it out, I have to put it in the denominator there. And the unit that we can go to, we see from this first equivalency, the unit that we can go to now is hours. So we can actually go ahead and think about what's going to happen with the units. We can see that the days will cancel days. Well, now in hours, we're ready to move on. Hours on top, it needs to cancel, so I'll put it on the bottom. The unit we can go to from hours is minutes, so I'll put minutes on top. We see that hours cancel hours. Now I'm in minutes. Last step. Minutes is on top. It needs to cancel, so I need to put it on the bottom. From minutes, I want to go to seconds, so I'll put that on top. Minutes will cancel minutes. Now I will be in seconds as I won't, so we can go back and put in the numbers. 24 hours was 1 day. That was 60 minutes to 1 hour, and 60 seconds to 1 minute. So again, all multiplication because it's all on top. We go back to the calculator and say 3 times the 24 times the 60 times the other 60. 3 times 24 times 60 times 60, and there would be our answer. So our answer would be 259, and let's see what that was again. 259,200 seconds would be our answer. Now we can use other units besides these more familiar time units like this. For example, you can convert from, say, cubic inches to cubic feet to cubic yards and other types of three-dimensional units. If we want to do that type of conversion, we can use the equivalencies we already know. For example, we know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard, that there are, for example, 12 inches in 1 foot. So if we had 2.8 cubic yards, and we, for example, wanted to convert that to cubic inches, we could do that. We put the cubic yards over 1 and start the conversion process. So, times, and to get rid of a cubic yard, what we're going to need is a yard on the bottom 3 times. And I'm probably not going to have enough space here. We better just do this conversion and allow a little bit more space for it. Alright, yard on the bottom 3 times. We'll cancel 1, 2, 3 times to get rid of cubic yards on top. And again, from yard we can go to feet most easily. So we can go back to 3 feet in 1 yard, 3 feet in 1 yard, 3 feet in 1 yard. So we found that cubic yard is canceled by yard once, twice, 3 times. So we're now in cubic feet. See the feet, feet, feet 3 times gives us cubic feet. So now we need to start canceling that out and go to inches, which is what we said we originally wanted. So I'll put feet, feet, feet on the bottom 3 times. I'll put inch, inch, inch on the top 3 times, and 1 cancellation, 2 cancellations, and 3 cancellations later we find that we will have an answer in cubic inches. Our units are 12 inches to 1 foot, 12 inches to 1 foot, 12 inches to 1 foot, and we're ready to multiply. We'll take the 2.8 times, and remember we had 3 there 3 times and a 12 there 3 times, so we'll say times 3 to the power 3, and we'll say times 12 to the power 3, and the result we get is a 130,636.8. So that would be our answer, 130,636. Sorry. 130,636.8 it was, and that's in cubic inches. As we can see, the cubic yards were canceled by yards 1, 2, 3. Feet, this would have been cubic feet, but it was canceled by feet 1, 2, 3. And inch times inch times inch will give us a cubic inch. So using the equivalencies we are already familiar with, we can convert from any unit we want into pretty much any other unit that we want. And actually, while we have the calculator here in front of us, this calculator actually has, the TI-84 Plus has a unit converter in it that's pretty handy. We go to Applications, and we scroll down. I have to go down a little ways to find this. We'll find an entry here . Let's see, inequality, log in, note, organizer. Going to get to it here pretty soon because it's under Science Tools. There it is. You have to scroll down pretty far, but there it is. Under Applications, you have something called Science Tools. We hit enter on that. We hit enter again to continue. And number 2 is a unit converter. Alright, and then we look at what type of unit we want to convert. We were just working with volume, so we'll take a look at that, number 3. And our problem was, if we look back, was to take 2.8 cubic yards. So we'll type in a 2.8 and then look for cubic yards. There's cubic feet and cubic inches. And I actually don't have cubic yards on it this time, so we'll just start with cubic feet. Alright, so we would choose our unit, go down to cubic feet for this example, and convert to, let's say we want to go to cubic inches, or cubic meters. If you want to go to cubic meters, you would go over, choose that option, hit enter, and it would give you your answer. So for the units that are actually present, apparently cubic yards aren't present here, but for the units that are present, this does a very nice job of converting from one unit to another without having to do all those calculations yourself. All right, so there are the basics behind unit analysis, or dimensional analysis as it's sometimes called. Helps us calculate or make a conversion from one unit of measurement to another.